10 big changes to expect in Madden 23. Number 1 on the list is something that we found out just a little bit ago, and that is that they are redoing the tackling system, at least to some degree. We don't know if they're overhauling it completely, but they said that they are introducing a new tackling system that's going to lean more towards physics than the warping animations we've been used to seeing in the past. In a leaked article provided by Sports Gamers Online a while back, one of their sources said that they are introducing a new system that is known as Hit Everything. This system, according to EA Sports, will see the game take a step back from the animation-driven gameplay. The Hit Everything system will see players have more organic and consistent tackling results when trying to hit players around the field. Players will use the hit stick to trigger physics-driven animations that reward who you are as a tackler and how much impact you brought to a pile. So it sounds like there's going to be more weight, momentum, and size factored into these tackles, which is something we've been asking for a while now. We've gotten a couple glimpses at some possible animations from the company that actually does the motion capture for the Madden game, and you can see an example of one of those tackles here, which does look like that of a low hit stick tackle that looks a little bit more physics driven than a warping suction tackle animation. This is an area of the game that we've wanted to improve for a while, as older Maddens and other games have done this better, and this looks to be one of the big things they're trying to change about gameplay, which definitely sounds promising if they can do it correctly. And hey, really quickly, if you're enjoying this video and you don't want to miss out on all of the official Madden 23 news, it's going to be dropping any day now. Make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you don't miss any of those important updates when they drop. Number 2 on the list is something that kind of goes along with the new tackling system, and that is that they are bringing back tackle battles. Now, whether or not they are doing it differently than they did it in the past, that we don't know. We do know, however, that EA loves to bring back old things that they've taken out of the game, and tackle battles does appear to be returning in the same leaked article that was provided by Sports Gamers Online a while back. It says here, what appears to be a new mini game within the game, tackle battles happen when a user attempts to perform a conservative tackle with the A or X button. This mini game will see users mash the A or X button, either make the tackle or break a tackle. During a tackle battle, the ball carrier will be more susceptible to fumbles depending on various attributes. Players will be required to use various mechanics like protecting the ball and give up to avoid various hit stick and strip attempts from defenders. So while the new Hit Everything tackling system definitely sounds like something that we would want, I don't know if tackle battles necessarily falls under that. Some people enjoyed it, some people absolutely hated it when it was in the game. Maybe if somehow it's a little bit better implemented, it could be okay, but this is one of those things that could look not as realistic in real time when you're mashing buttons, depending on the animations that might occur out of the tackle battles. Now, if the animations look smooth and they look physics driven when they actually play out, maybe it will look nice, but we'll have to wait and see. Number 3 on the list is a new skill-based passing system, something that I've kind of wanted in the game for a while, but reading some of the leaks on this, I'm not sure how practical it's going to be. We'll have to wait and see, but it sounds like there's going to be a lot of emphasis on where you can actually place the ball, which is similar to the target passing we saw in Madden 18, even though it got removed after that single year in the game. But you were able to place the ball in certain spots where only a receiver could get it. You could try to make back shoulder throws. You could try to put the ball in between a tight window in a specific area, whereas right now in the game, the ball kind of just goes where it goes. You don't have too much control over the actual pinpoint accuracy of it. There's also something with the accuracy and power meters that sound something similar to kind of what 2K has with their shot meter. If you're familiar with the NBA 2K game, you know to time your shot, you have a window and you want to hit it in the green light window to ensure that you make the shot. If you're just a little bit too early or a little bit late, you can still make the shot, but it's a lot less likely. It sounds like EA is trying to bring something similar to Madden 23 with the skill-based passing system. However, they did say it's a feature you could turn on or off, which to me, I think if you give people the option, a lot of people will probably turn it off and just play the game as they're used to playing because it's a little bit easier and they're more used to it. But if you choose to have it on, there probably will be some benefits of it, like having more accurate passes or putting passes into windows that otherwise you wouldn't be able to. It sounds like you have to hold the accuracy meter, and if you can hit it in the right window, you're going going to guarantee a perfect pass. You also have a strength meter that, depending on how you hold down the analog stick, you can get a stronger pass, a weaker pass, a bullet pass, a lob pass, and things like that. So it is something that sounds interesting, but it sounds also like it's going to be optional. We'll have to see how this plays out. It could be really great or it could be horrible. I don't see much in between with this one. Number 4 on the list is crossplay. This has been a rumor for multiple years now that EA wanted to bring this to Madden. They have been doing it with their other games like Need for Speed and some other ones, and they just recently added it to FIFA 22 to kind of test it out and see how it would work, and they have plans to implement it into the next FIFA game, which I believe is not even going to be called FIFA anymore because they have done away with the FIFA license and they're just going to have, you know, a regular game without the actual FIFA license. So whatever the next game from EA is going to be called, it's supposed to have crossplay implemented. And if you know anything about EA, once they put something in FIFA, it's like 80% chance that it's going to come to Madden. All of the biggest features that FIFA has gotten over the years, they would usually come to Madden the next year. I don't know that crossplay would be one of those things where it would actually wait a year. I think that's why they tried to test it a little bit early at the end of the FIFA 22 cycle. And since they've been implementing it in a number of other games, it's really impossible at this point that they would just not put it into Madden, because while it's already been a rumor for multiple years, if they're doing it with all these other games, they're going to want to do it with one of their biggest flagship games, which is Madden. So that could be coming this year, where if you're on the PlayStation, you can play people on the Xbox and vice versa. Number 5 on the list is expect some big changes with abilities. This one's a tricky one because this is a system that has become so important to Madden. It's become a staple of the game since it was added a few years ago, but the system as a whole has also grown kind of stale. It's kind of at a point now where the majority of the abilities are nothing crazy to write home about. Some of them are nice to have, but they don't make a huge difference. But there's those 2 to 5 really crucial ones that are just downright overpowered and are something that everybody uses in the game, like Escape Artist and Gunslinger. So I think we're kind of at a point where it's either going to get removed from the game or big changes are going to be made. Now, we know EA loves to put features in the game, and after about 2 to 3 years, they run their course, they take them out, and then they'll bring them back 7 to 10 years later. They'll repackage them, maybe change them a little bit, and put it back in the game under a different name. But abilities has become so important, and it is something that they've said multiple times is here to stay, and it's going to be an important part of the game. So with that said, I would expect some big changes to come with them if they're going to stay in the game. They're going to have to change some of these overpowered ones that's just been kind of running rampant since it's been included into the game, and it's also time to bring in some different ones, maybe just get rid of some certain ones that really aren't even that necessary, and just kind of change the system up a little bit and maybe bring some new life to it. Number 6 on the list is the nerfing of Escape Artist. I believe that this is finally going to happen in Madden 23. It's been pretty overpowered since it was introduced in Madden 20, but it has never even been close to as bad as it is in Madden 22. It is just downright unstoppable if you know what you're doing with it. Now, this is something EA has been very consistent with every year of Madden. Whatever was the most overpowered thing, it always gets nerfed. If you look at the last few years, Madden 20, the run game, the stretch run in particular, super powerful. The way the defense played it was just downright awful, and people could just run for like 1,000 yards every game. And then in the next year's game, they significantly nerfed it. They made run defense a little bit better. The run was still good, but it was nowhere near as dominant as Madden 20. In Madden 21, one of the most overpowered things was man defense. They played out of their mind, and it made playing defense just very boring. Then you come to this year's game, man defense is nowhere near as good as it was last year. It's a little bit more balanced. So that's why I say this year, with Escape Artist being by far the worst it's ever been, you're going to see some type of nerfing to this next year. There's no way they can keep letting this be a big issue. Number 7 is new relocation teams for franchise mode, and maybe even possibly create a team returning. Now, I'm not going to hold my breath on create a team. I do think it's something that will make its way back into the game. It should be in the game. Really should have never left the game. But I say relocation teams specifically because this is something that EA said that they wanted to change in Madden 22. They had a long list of things that they wanted to do for franchise mode, which included adding assistant coaches, overhauling the scouting system, and some other things. They did all of those things, but the one main thing that they did not get to was changing the relocation teams. It was was one of the things that kind of got left on the chopping block, and they weren't able to implement it for whatever reason for Madden 22. So seeing as it's something that they've already spoken on wanting to do for the current game, it's got to be at the top of the list for the next year's game as far as franchise is concerned. And there may be some other franchise changes as well, but they just haven't spoken on anything else as of yet. Number 8 on the list is more creation. Now, again, this could also mean create a team like I just talked about, but specifically, it's going to do with things like cleats and gloves and possibly even tattoos, because this is something for 2 years now that they have been speaking about during interviews, saying that this is something they want to put into the game. It's something that they have hired a new art director to work on, and they said that they were close to getting this in for Madden 22 and said that they were even going to try to get it in for a post-launch update. So again, if this was something that they were actively trying to get in during the Madden 22 cycle, it has to be something near the top of the list to now do for Madden 23. They talk about wanting to be able to put custom tattoos on players and change the cleat colors and glove colors and kind of being able to make them your own, which again, this is something that's very common in pretty much every other sports game. I don't know why Madden has taken so long to implement this. Some of this stuff was in the older games. We know about it. But at the end of the day, it needs to be in the game one way or the other. I don't know why it's not there yet, but it's something they've consistently talked about getting close to doing. So I think Madden 23 might be the time that we finally see this happen. Number 9 is more equipment that people have been asking for. This is another thing in interviews that the equipment guy talks about when he talks about the creation and the customization. He also talks about equipment, and you know, for some people this doesn't really matter. For other people it's a big deal. It just depends on what you look for in a game. But as always, if it's in real life, we should have it represented in the game, and these are things like updating all of the sleeves to make them better, more realistic. It includes hand warmers and towels that you can move around that don't have to be stagnant in one spot. This includes, of course, more cleats, face masks, and things like that. They've touched on all of these things specifically and said they want to get all of this in the game, and it's high on the priority list, and they are things that they were trying to get in for Madden 22. They didn't make it into Madden 22, so that means good chance we could see at least some of this stuff in Madden 23. And last but not least, this is a small thing, but thousands of people have been asking about it for over a year now. Yes, it looks like the gritty celebration is finally coming to Madden 23 because the motion capture company that does the motion capture for Madden posted a TikTok of them capturing the gritty celebration. So it looks like it's finally making it into Madden 23. A year late in my opinion, but it's there. Check out this video right here where we get a look behind the scenes of the motion capture for Madden 23, and you can see some of the new animations that are going to be making it into the game.